This video was brought to you by Brilliant. India will go to the polls in 2024 for a general election that could see Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his right-wing BJP cement its dominance over Indian politics for another 5 years. But as the high-stakes election draws nearer, there are some signs that while Modi remains the clear favourite, the challenge of winning again is becoming increasingly more difficult. So in this video, we're going to take a look at 3 of the factors making life more difficult for Modi. Specifically, a brand new united opposition alliance, recent state election losses, and a worsening ethnic conflict in the country's northeast. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. Let's jump straight in and take a look at the people who are challenging Modi in next year's election. In July, 26 of India's opposition parties announced that they'd formed an electoral alliance with the intention of denying Modi a third term and locking his party, the BJP, out of power. The new group is called the Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, though it's better known by its clever but not so subtle acronym, India. And the alliance are already playing into their name, with top opposition figure Rahul Gandhi saying that the election is a battle between Narendra Modi and India, his ideology and India, noting that India always wins all fights. Beyond just their name, though, the largest party in this alliance are the once dominant Indian National Congress, often referred to as just Congress. Other prominent alliance members include the DMK, which is in power in the state of Tamil Nadu, the Trinamool Congress, which governs West Bengal state, and the Aam Aadmi Party, which governs in Delhi and Punjab. Now, as I said, there's a whole load of other parties too, 26 in total, including communist parties, regionalist parties, Islamic parties, secular parties, and more. Ideological differences aside, the parties are united in their opposition to Narendra Modi and the BJP, who they accuse of undermining the country's democracy, cracking down on opposition, and persecuting minorities, as well as broader economic mismanagement. In a statement, the alliance said that the character of our republic is being severely assaulted in a systemic manner by the BJP. So the grouping's main aim, according to them, is to stand together to safeguard democracy and the constitution, while also confronting the grave economic crisis of ever-rising prices and record unemployment. Now, Modi has dismissed the threat of the India alliance, saying that alliances built on negativity never succeed. Despite this, Modi clearly doesn't dislike all alliances, because at the same time the India alliance came together, Modi held a meeting with his own already existing alliance, called the National Democratic Alliance, or NDA. According to some analysts, Modi's revival of NDA, which has diminished over the years under the dominance of the BJP, suggests that he does take the threat of the India alliance seriously, and isn't planning on leaving anything to chance. And this is understandable, as the new alliance has already brought together a number of regionally important opposition parties who hold influence and significant voting blocs in states across the country. That being said, the India alliance does have a huge uphill battle. They're going to have to maintain unity despite their significant ideological breadth and past rivalry. And Modi's not totally wrong that this feels unlikely. Broad opposition alliances in countries like Hungary and Turkey have generated hope and excitement for opponents, but they've also failed to oust their polarizing leaders. So the India alliance will be hoping to buck that trend. It's not just the India alliance that threatens Modi, though, because the recent state legislative assembly vote also points towards 2024 being more difficult than Modi might have hoped. In May, before the India alliance was formed, the southwestern state of Karnataka held a state election that saw the opposition Indian National Congress win by a landslide, taking power from the BJP, who were reduced to just 66 seats, down from 104. In fact, the BJP's loss here now means that they hold none of India's 5 southernmost states. Now, there were a lot of local political factors behind this result, but nevertheless, it still had a nationwide impact. For starters, it provided a significant boost of optimism for the, at times, hard-pressed Indian National Congress. Plus, it was the first major test of voter sentiment since embattled former Congress chief Rahul Gandhi held a 4,000-kilometer march across the country to revive the party's fortunes. Additionally, the BJP had made Modi a big part of their campaign in the region, and he took part in nearly 20 campaigns and rallies in the final weeks before the vote. So these results show that there are limits to Modi's charisma and appeal. Now, the third and final thing we're going to take a look at, which could be hurting Modi's odds heading into the next election, is the deadly ethnic conflict in the northeastern state of Manipur. So far, more than 150 people have been killed and more than 60,000 displaced amid the violence between the majority Metis community and the minority Kuki and Naga tribes. Now, this whole situation is very complicated, but the TLDR is that the conflict began when the mostly Christian Kukis began to protest against the mostly Hindu Metis, with them wanting to be granted special tribal status, which would see them benefit from affirmative action and allow them to buy land in the hills populated by Kukis. Things escalated into violent attacks and reprisals between the ethnic groups, though. Hundreds of houses, churches, temples, and vehicles have been attacked and burned. Sexual violence has been widely reported, and thousands of weapons have been looted from armories and are now in the hands of civilians, mobs, and militias, who remain in full-on armed conflict. Prime Minister Modi has unsurprisingly faced criticism for not publicly engaging with this conflict. It took him months to even break his silence, and he only did so in July after a horrific video was widely circulated showing two Kuki women being paraded and assaulted by a mob. Responding to this, Modi said that the incident was shameful and added that the guilty will not be spared. Now, the opposition has tabled a rare vote of no confidence in Modi over the government's response to the conflict. But at the time of writing, a date hasn't been set for a debate or a vote on this issue. And ultimately, as the BJP have the majority in Parliament, the motion is almost guaranteed to fail. But as one of the opposition members said, it's not about the numbers, it's about forcing the Prime Minister to speak on the issue in Parliament. Especially as the conflict does threaten to spill over into neighbouring regions, creating an even bigger challenge for the government, who are already fighting the perception that they're failing to deal with it. So this damaging ethnic conflict, the new opposition alliance, and the recent state election results all point to the fact that Modi's position might be under increasing threat. Nonetheless, the BJP remains the clear favourite, and Modi's popularity and political ability should never be underestimated. The India alliance, meanwhile, will need to be greater than the sum of their parts if they want to avoid the fate of similar united oppositions in other countries. And ultimately, we're going to get a better idea of how things are going to play out when 5 Indian states hold elections in November and December, which could act as a key litmus test ahead of the 2024 election. But even with that, it will be hard to tell exactly what's going on, especially in a world where it's increasingly difficult to tell what's real and what's fake, with AI and machine learning pushing us into new realms of deception. And it's also increasingly easy to manipulate and deceptively use data. That's why, as part of our journalism at TLDR, we're brushing up on our data and analysis skills over on Brilliant. For instance, their Predicting with Probability course has helped us better understand how projections and forecasts work, and therefore help us better identify when something suspicious is going on with government forecasting. Or take their hypothesis testing course, which allows us to better analyze people's claims and also test our own assumptions and theories. It's not just statistics either. The interactive and engaging courses over at Brilliant take you through all kinds of important topics, from the worlds of maths, science, and computer science. And as we all know, these are increasingly important topics in our modern world, and all of these skills can definitely help with your educational journey or career path. So take a positive step in your learning and check out everything that Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days by clicking the special link in the description. And the first 200 of you to do so will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription.